So today we're going to talk about high availability and site resilience. When site resilience is the way Microsoft Exchange team called data center recovery. So when I see site resilience, it's data center recovery at the end of the day when it comes to Exchange Server. So high availability. And site resilience. Anyone can tell me what's that about?
Redundancy?
Redundancy, no.
Failure recovery?
Failure recovery, no. It's
Faster.
It's about having, this is the general concept that include under it everything, with redundancy and failure recovery, and all of these things are all like parts that consist in. The high availability and site resilience is about service level agreement. So, service level agreement, usually when you have a company doing your job, they will sign a contract with you saying that we will ensure, we will guarantee that the service is going to be up for 99.99% of the time. And since the 90s, IT departments and big organizations starting actually having service level agreements with their client, which is the company they're working for. And when you come to establish a service level agreement, you'll be looking into two things: recovery point objective and recovery time objective. So recovery point objective is simply how much data we can afford to lose and how much the cost we'll afford to invest. Because the graph goes like this. We have money, cost, versus, for example, RPO. Or, sorry, availability. So this is 100% availability, for example. So it will start something like this, and it will go exponentially toward the end. Because if you want to have, for example, 95% data loss prevention, it's going to cost that much money. But if you want to have 97, it's going to cost more money than that. So there's always a fine line. Does it worth to save 2 more percent of the data? Maybe that's like, when it comes to email, does it worth to save 1 hour worth of email to pay $500,000 for 1 hour? It's a fine line, it's a decision, it's a business decision that has to be done. And once we figure out the recovery point objective and the recovery time objective, so this is how data loss, how much data loss we can afford. This is how much time, downtime, we can afford. So we figure out the service level agreement, we figure out the details of these things. When it comes to Exchange Server, now we need to know how to do this, how to achieve this goal. So we set up a goal. We say we can't afford more than 2 days total downtime in Sega for the next year, for example. So 2 days divided by 365 by 100%, and we figure out this percentage. Now, how to achieve this percentage? This is not an easy task. There's 3 parts or 2 parts of this task. There's technology, which is the easy part. If you actually ready to pay money, you will get the technology. It's not a big deal. You will buy it from the provider, they will figure it out for you, they will configure it, everything will be easy. The second part is planning and training. So when it comes to high availability, usually we try to get something automatic. If a server fails, cluster will fail over, the other server will take over and everything. But when it comes to data center recovery or site resilience, most of the time, 99% of the time, it's something manual, something you have to do. Because it's a big decision and this is only when, for example, you have a hurricane or you have power outage that's going to last for a week. And you can't afford to keep the data and everyone is using the old data center, so you have to move to the new data center. So it has to be automatic, people have to be prepared. If Trent is the one who's going to know how to do it and Trent leaves, then all the investment is not meaningful anymore because, oops, we don't know how to do it. We have to contact someone to find out how to do it, and that takes time, and that goes against the whole idea. So to achieve this, there are 3 levels we can do. We can do application/host replication. We can do network-based replication. And finally, we can do SAN-based replication. This costs a lot. This costs less. This costs almost cheap if you have the proper application versions, of course. So we're going to be speaking about this today. Of course, with cheap comes, there's a catch. This is almost 0 data loss, 0 time downtime. It's based on synchronous replication between the data in data center 1 and data center 2. So data gets to data center 1, which is the active. It's being replicated to data center 2, acknowledgement will come back. So data will be fully synchronized. This is more asynchronous kind of situation. So you do have a little bit of data loss, you do have a little bit more time to do it. You need, but it's still expensive. And this is more application, so you get more data loss and more downtime. So coming back to RPO and RTO, that's what will make you decide which solution to go for. You will have the next year to find out, in your case, what kind of approach you want to approach this. But for today's presentation, we're going to only speak about Exchange Server replication on the application level. So we'll go back to Exchange Server. Exchange Server started in 5.5, in 2000, 2003, 2007, and then 2010. 5.5, technology was just starting. This is like 1995, 1996, I believe so. So people, like big organization who have started relying on email, still wanted something that's available 24 hours, still did not that 0 data loss. So they went really all the way to pay millions of dollars to invest in a third-party solutions that today will seem like stupid because they were just paying a lot of money to do something that you can do now for, like I believe, like if you pay $1 million in 1994, you get what you pay here for much less today. It is technology. You invest a lot. You have to be careful not to overspend because whatever you get 4 years from now is going to be old, and you have to get it again. So it's always a fine line about how much is the value I am risking to lose and how much the value I'm interested in investing. So I'm not going to speak about 5.5 because it was really all external hardware, special kind of solutions.